and I see that energy here, very my way or the highway. And especially as an Aquarius, if you tell me my way or the highway, I'm like, the highway, okay? The highway alone, and I'll never see you again. But it's stopping him from getting some kind of work, because I feel like people are going to come out with some stories about him, with especially the lovers, a former girlfriend. If it has come out already, and like I told you guys, the only thing I really pay attention to is housewives. Housewives, Vanderpump Rules. Hi everyone, welcome back to No Light Tarot. My name is Holly, so grateful to have you all. I've already done the announcements in the intro, so let's get right into the video. A lot of you have been leaving suggestions, thank you so much. If you want to leave a suggestion that's guaranteed to get made, become a member. If not, I write every week or two in the community tab a suggestion. I ask for a suggestion, and it's not guaranteed to be made, but I do look at them, so thank you so much. In fact, all 3 videos I'm doing right now are suggestions, so thank you. Okay, so let's get right into it. I'm really excited to be doing this. I'm first going to start off with the Weeknd, then we're going to do Henry Cavill and a Selena update. So, as I shuffle the cards, I'm starting off with the Weeknd's Idol. Somebody was like, oh, the Weeknd, the singer, has a show coming out. And I'm not surprised. I often say this about Aquarius. We are very, I'm not tooting my own horn, but we don't like to stay in the same career for a long time. So we'll often like start a career that branches off into something else, and then branch off into something else, because we like, I think Sagittarius are like that too. We like to kind of stay fresh, you know, in that aspect. If you know Sun in Aquarius, I say Mars in Aquarius too. I wouldn't necessarily say Venus, but rising in Aquarius too. Oftentimes I like to stay fresh in like fashion, pop culture. We like to keep things near, you know. That's why Aquarius in relationships, we tend to get bored of people. I say us Aquarius because the Weeknd is Aquarius. We tend to get bored of people. Not necessarily bored, but if you don't keep an Aquarius fun, like refreshing fun, we're out, you know. Keep things light. That's why I think Geminis and Sagittarius are the best, and Aries and Leo. Sometimes Leos can be a little too much drama for us though. But those signs tend to be the best combinations for Aquarius. Sometimes Virgos, I will say my friends, friendship wise, Virgos have been my rocks. Virgos, Scorpios, and some Pisces. But I think in relationships we need spark, we need like adventure, we need to constantly be stimulated and reminded to be, I don't know, we just need that. Otherwise we feel like so I want to just talk about his show. That the reason why I said that is because I'm not surprised that he is venturing off into doing something else and starting a show and production and so forth, because if you look back, most famous Aquarius, if you look at Justin Timberlake as an example, he started off as a singer, dancer. Now he is more known as an actor, really. And you know, I see Justin Timberlake branching off into like production, direction. So we tend to love to do stuff like that, you know. When I think about because right now, quick story, I'm doing something that involves something that one of my parents used to do, and I always think, oh my gosh, it's so boring. But you know, it's funny, that's how we are, Aquarius. We're like, will drop something, pick it up later, you know, and then so forth and so forth. So that's just, I see the trend in Aquarius a lot. So when I was shuffling the cards, I got this energy of like focus, you know, and I love talking about Aquarius because I think very few people understand us. And I was watching this thing on Instagram. I wish I remembered his name so I could give him a shout out. But two guys, if you look at my Instagram, I often post, well, not a lot, but I posted, I think, one video from each of the guys, and both of them say such pointed, they understand Aquarius so well. And most people don't get us. Most people think we're weird. Most people, you know, growing up, that's just been my thing. People thought I was weird, people thought I was this, people thought I was that, people didn't get me. It's fine, whatever, now I understand why. But I love talking about Aquarius because we're very mysterious, and we don't like to tell people a lot about ourselves because we feel like we need to protect that part of ourselves. And I think the water bearer, you know, the image of Aquarius is the water bearer. It's often a woman pouring water, sometimes a man pouring water out of a vase, and I think it's so atypical of us because we're very silent, and then sometimes we pour out our heart, you know, and it's often through creativity. We're usually very creative people. That's what often sometimes with singers, you know, Harry Styles, The Weeknd. We're often very, we have to outlet, like we'll keep quiet and about something, especially if somebody's hurt us, we'll be very quiet and then we'll let it go. And a healthy Aquarius who's in their light, not in the shadow, will use a creative outlet to let it go, you know, and therapy and stuff like that. But an Aquarius in the shadow will often whine, complain. I meet a lot of those. Aquarius, and I'm like, I swear to God, I'm not one of those people that's whining and complaining my whole day about other people. But I have been at some point in my life. I definitely have. When I was in my shadow, towards the end of when I lived in New York, I was in a very dark place mentally, and that's when I was whining, I was complaining, and I knew that about myself. So I reeled back and I made some changes in my life. But I only say that to say that I feel like The Weeknd is using this show as like an outlet to what's really going on in his life. So I haven't seen much of the show. I just saw like Lily Rose, I suppose that's Johnny Depp's daughter. They were following her around on a red carpet, and I definitely feel like he is giving us a glimpse into part of his life with this. Obviously some of it is fictional, but he wants the world to see what he's been exposed to as somebody in the limelight. So 10 of Earth, Hierophant, and Ace of Fire. I see a lot of good things coming from this, but I also see him being very, I wonder if he has Taurus in his chart. I feel like he has Taurus in his chart, I can see that. But he's being very selective about who he works with, and that's the thing about Aquarius, we're very protective. If we create something that means a lot to us, we're very protective of it, very, very protective. And I see that with him. You see the Hierophant, she's like, don't come near me, leave me alone, you know, that kind of energy. So with Four of Water, he's learned a lot from the past, how things worked out, situations and so forth, especially working with people in the industry. I used to live in LA, and I've dated two people who are in the industry, Hollywood industry. Let me tell you something. I don't want to speak on their behalf, you know, so I'm just speaking from what I saw living in LA and being attached to those people. It's a lot of fake people, a lot of people you can't trust, and it's like no other place. In fact, it made me so jaded now. As an Aquarius, I'm like, don't trust anybody, leave me alone, let me do my thing. Because there's a lot of vultures, you know. It made me think about that Katy Perry song, when it's called Rise, one of my favorite songs, oh my gosh. And she says, just look it up. Look up the song Vulture. Look up the song Rise, by Katy Perry. She speaks about vultures. And then I can see here, there's a lot of vultures that he's seen have come into his life. And the thing about Aquarius, from the moment we meet somebody, we usually have that person spot on. That's why now when I meet people, I'm very quiet with them. It takes me a long time to get to know them, because I want to see who I'm dealing with before I deal with them, you know. And he is the same way. That's why I got this energy of like focusing, like just watching, seeing what's going on. And I think the Weeknd is very intuitive. I think I see some Cancer in his chart. I can't remember his chart. I remember I did his chart a long time ago. I can't remember it, but I see a lot of just the energy of his energy is very intuitive, very intuitive. So bottom of the deck, 10 of air. He is, if you look here, she's like looking up at a feather. He wants his dream to come true of him achieving some kind of award, you know, like an Emmy or something of substance. Because, you know, and I love talking about Aquarius because I understand and I totally relate sometimes. You know, when you grow up, and I recently discovered this about myself, well, not recently, but I say in the past few years, when you grow up in an environment that doesn't understand you, that boxes you in something, because I was always labeled an artist, you know, even though both my parents are scientists, I was always labeled an artist because I was creative. And I only recently realized that I do have a scientific brain. But in that environment, I'm going to get to the point of the story, I'm telling you. In that environment, I felt like people didn't understand me, so my subconscious would translate that as, I need to make them understand me, you know? And it's only recently when I did my work, my inner child healing, my healing from trauma, because we all go through some kind of trauma in our childhood, whether we address it or not is another story. But I realized that I became a person who wanted to be liked at all costs, because I wasn't really liked. I mean, I was quote unquote popular, but I didn't feel like my friends liked me, a lot of my friends, and so forth. And a lot of Aquarius have that. And as we get older, we either become jaded about it or we become successful because of it, you know? Like, we want to prove people wrong. And that's always been my superpower. When somebody says to me, I can't do it, especially my teachers growing up, a lot of teachers told me I couldn't do it. When they told me no, I would do extremely well. Like, it became a running joke amongst my friends and family, because as soon as somebody said no, and it kind of built this rebellious, that's why a lot of Aquarius are rebellious, because it builds a rebellious nature in us of like, okay, you said I can't, watch me, you're going to regret saying that. So I feel like growing up, he was often laughed at, he was teased, I don't think he was bullied, but people were like, you're never going to be anything, you know? I think he spent a lot of time alone, and it's actually kind of sad, it makes me emotional, because I can relate, you know? And he was just, I see him like with a keyboard, you know, practicing, and that, him repeating, you're going to wish you never treated me like that, you're going to wish you never treated me like that. And I think he wants to win an award to prove these people wrong, which is not, it can be helpful to achieve a goal, but it shouldn't be the only reason why you're achieving it, you know. So the strength, fortune's wheel, and love. He also wants to prove an ex wrong. He wants to prove them wrong, be like, haha, you see, I can't about something. It's funny, I remember now, I did a reading on him and I said that he had an ex before he became famous that he feels wasn't very nice to him, and I think this is the ex. I think they said Abigail or something like that. I don't know why I get the name Abigail, but definitely that ex that I spoke about before. This is the ex that he's like, okay, I'm famous, I'm going to get this, I'm going to prove you wrong, which is, it's a slippery slope, because I get it. I'm like that too. Somebody says, for example, I had an ex-boyfriend in high school, and he did me very dirty, I won't even lie. And I always deep down felt like, okay, well, if one day I become this, he's gonna regret it, because I think when your mind hasn't fully developed, you start to translate things that in a way that's unreasonable, and I had to let that idea of needing to prove anything to him go. And it took a long time, it took a long time. And same thing for him. He needs to let that idea that he'll be different, or that somebody, how do I phrase this? That that people will change their mind about him based on what he's done, because that attracts fake friends. It attracts the kind of people you don't want around, that will only use you for what you have. And ultimately, and I think a lot of Aquarius know this, we just have to practice it. Oopsie. Not everybody's going to like you, and it's okay. Sometimes it has to do with you, sometimes it doesn't. But as long as you're authentic to who you are, what you stand for, what you're creating, that's not based on people liking you versus not liking you, you'll be okay. You'll be 100% okay. And I think he will realize that. Messenger of Earth transformation. He will realize that in the process. I mean, Aquarius, we often do realize that after we realize, okay, people don't like us because we're so different. And sometimes, I actually was remembering this, a random story, but it's actually happened to me quite a few times. There was something I thought of, because when I was like a late teen, my early 20s, I used to randomly invent stuff. Like, I'd be in my room, I'd give myself like a day to just be by myself and just paint, draw, create things, and invent stuff. It's very strange, I know, but I'm an Aquarius. So I would do like these days where it's like, everybody leave me alone, I'm gonna do my own thing. And I invented something, and I remember, I forgot what it was, because I used to invent so many different things. And I remember taking it to my friend at the time, and she was like, I'm sure that's already invented. And I was like, okay, maybe it is. And I shouldn't have believed her, because I should have filed the trademark. I should have, done all these things, because I ended up seeing somebody make, I forgot what it was. I forgot completely what it was. But I ended up seeing somebody, and I remembered then, Aquarius and Gemini, we have this ability to see things that are going to happen in the future. And we cannot believe people when they tell us somebody else has invented it, or somebody, or do you know what I mean? Like, we're not worthy of being recognized for our work. So just keep that in mind. If you're Aquarius, Gemini, please keep that in mind. Okay, so now we're going to move on to Henry Cavill. I don't know how you say that. Cavill. I think British would say Cavill, and I believe he is British from what I saw. He's very good looking. He's not really my type. I don't know, I don't find good looking people like that my type. I like usually nerdy, nerds with swag. That's usually my type. Okay, so his chart, I'm reading it right now. Whoopsie daisy, let me fix my lighting. His sun is in Taurus, moon is in Aquarius. Interesting. I thought he was Aquarius actually when I saw him. Rising is Aquarius, obviously. Yeah, that's what I saw. I thought he was Aquarius when I don't know why. He just has that Aquarius energy. I just get it very strong. Okay, so let's see. I just want to do breakdown of the energy. Somebody asked me to do this. Again, if you would like to request a video and your member automatically gets made, I think your member requested this. You aren't. I do take requests, but aren't guaranteed. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so I'm getting like him on a stage, which is he still going to play Superman? Let's see. I'm getting him on a stage talking to other people. But you know, I realize now Taurus are often very good looking people, you know, because they're ruled by Venus. Venus is about good looking things. Taurus and Libra, like Sun in Libras, Moon in Libras, Rising Libras, very good looking people in general. And I'm just realizing that now, is that his like stature, his strong stature is very Sun and Taurus, you know, the bull. So not saying he's overweight, because he's clearly not, but he's just got a very strong, stable body. Yeah, so with the Lovers, Ace of Earth and King of Swords. So I see this very strongly. Whoa, okay, so I feel like, and this is intuitive based, not fact based, I strongly feel like he has this double side to him. I don't know how to explain it, but I'm gonna try my best to explain it. Please bear with me if you're a Henry Cavill fan. Cavill, however you say it. I'm not in the business of appeasing fans. I'm not in the business of telling lies. That's why it's called No Lie Tarot. I am all about light work and using darkness, transforming that into light, and seeing what we can learn from situations. I strongly see here that he has a very domineering side, which is very atypical of Taurus, especially the men. I don't really get along with a lot of male Taurus. I feel like they can be very dominant, and I see that energy here, very my way or the highway. And especially as an Aquarius, if you tell me my way or the highway, I'm like, the highway, okay? The highway alone, and I'll never see you again. But it's stopping him from getting some kind of work, because I feel like people are going to come out with some stories about him, with especially the Lovers, a former girlfriend. If it has come out already, and like I told you guys, the only thing I really pay attention to is Housewives. Housewives, Vanderpump Rules, that kind of stuff, Love is Blind, that kind of stuff. That's why I'm like, okay, I'm on Instagram all day. And tattoos and piercings. But if it's like celebrity news, I have to like literally look it up, because it doesn't really not that it doesn't interest me, I just have no like strong desire to look up news like that. So oftentimes you guys have to tell me situations and stories. So if this has come out already, I apologize for not knowing. I just didn't know. I don't know a lot about him other than watching him as Superman, and I think he did a great job as Superman. But with Queen of Discs, this person is a well-known former ex-girlfriend who's going to start speaking out about him, and it's going to risk her money. Like, people are going to say to her, don't keep talking or it's going to affect your money, and she's going to do it anyways. So the Boston deck, being the High Priestess, he already has a sense that he knows. Aquarius, male Aquarius. Okay, I've dated mostly Aquarius men. In fact, one of my high school boyfriends for a long time was Aquarius. When I was older relationships, he was also Aquarius. And I have never had a bad experience with, in fact, some of them I'm still friendly with. I don't believe in being friends with your exes, but I'm still friendly with. If I saw them, I'd say hi, give them a hug, and you know, it didn't end up really bad like I have with some of my other exes. But there is a side that I've seen to some male Aquarius that can be very similar to Taurus, very domineering. It's never happened to me at all. Like I said, maybe I just don't have that personality. It's interesting. It has happened to me with another sign, but with Aquarius it hasn't happened to me. But I have seen where they can be very dominant, very controlling, and just have this energy, same thing as my way or the highway. So I see that very strongly in his chart placement, and his Saturn's in Scorpio too, because I'm looking at his chart right now. North Node in Gemini. So interesting, very interesting. So I just see that, I see it very strongly that he is very like, and people that can be interpreted as ABUSE. I have to spell it out because YouTube and the algorithm doesn't like that word, but it can definitely be interpreted as that. So with 8 of Wands, 2 of Swords, King of Discs, it seems like this person he had a relationship with, I think it lasted like 2-3 years. That's what I get energetically, or they knew each other for that amount of time. But throughout, it was a very tumultuous back and forth. They break up one day, be back together another, and it really affected this woman, really affected her, because it seems like another thing about, he's not Aquarius, but I see this in Aquarius men. It's never happened to me, but they can be womanizers. I know lots of Aquarius men that cheat on their wives often, cheat on their girlfriends often, cheat on, if they're in same sex, cheat on their boyfriends often. You know, I see that a lot in Aquarius, and they all justify it, and be like, oh well, we weren't having this, we weren't having that. You know, Aquarius, our minds, if you have strong Aquarius placements, your mind is often the most powerful thing you think you have, and we can convince ourselves of things sometimes so much that we end up thinking that they're true. And so I think even though he's not Aquarius, he has strong Aquarius placements, he has convinced himself, and Taurus too, Taurus can be very stubborn, he's convinced himself that these girlfriends deserved to be cheated on. I definitely see some unfaithfulness going on here, definitely. 7 of Swords, Ace of Fire, and it's going to be exposed. Whoa, that was quite heavy. I even got hot doing that video, and my AC's on, so I don't know why I did, but I can see a lot of that coming very soon. So yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the last one of this video. I do release about 2-3 videos a week. The last of this video is Selena. So let's see, Selena update, Selena Gomez update. Some of you have been asking me about it. I've been almost 100% accurate with her beauty, with her this, with her that. Of Hailey copying Selena. I didn't even, like I said, I don't pay attention. Housewives, let me tell you, I know, except for New Jersey, I don't really watch New Jersey. But, and there's another one I don't watch. But I'm telling you, that's my what other people consider celebrities, those are my celebrities. So I don't keep up with a lot. So somebody sent me a video of Hailey, or like a Instagram of Hailey copying Selena, and I was like, yeah, I predicted this. I predicted that Hailey was copying Selena, and it's going to get exposed. I said it's going to get exposed this year, and literally like 2 months after started getting exposed. So let's see, Selena Gomez update, Selena Gomez update. Okay, so I see there's a guy in her life that's very interested in her. King of Wands, 7 of Wands, 5 of Swords, but it's almost like a headache to her. I think she's had to deal with a lot of stalkers, and I can only imagine. I mean, I've had stalkers, that's why I don't really divulge my location and stuff like that. I've just had a lot of creepy energy in my life. Very, so I can only imagine what Selena is going through. But I will say this, that I feel very strongly that because people will be like, oh, they'll justify, be like, oh, well, she's celebrity, or well, she's this, or she's that, and like, I've literally had a guy in my house. I woke up, he was in my house, and I was just terrified, you know. So, and I'm not a celebrity, and he found me. It's horrible, but so nobody should be stalked. But I feel like this guy has very stalker energy, and we're going to hear the world. He feels like they're meant to be together. I don't think he's mentally well in the head. I think there's something going on with him. The tower being at the bottom of the deck. He's very scary, this person. Very, very scary. And it's scary, like, after this happened, oh gosh, I just felt like this emotion come up. After that happened, when I had a stalker, I've had a few in my life, but I had one when I was in LA. I had to go. I've spoken about it before. I had to go to Stanley Moss Courthouse, and like I had to get a restraining order. It was very, very scary. It took me a very long time to really trust. I wouldn't say necessarily anybody, but it took me a long time to trust relationships. It took me a long time to really trust people in my house and stuff like that. That they have well intentioned, like they're well intended, because even now sometimes I'm still like very wary of just being alone in the house with a guy. Do you know what I'm saying? Which makes a lot of sense. I've never really been posted on TV like that, but just in different circumstances, so can leave an effect on you. So with the tower, I feel like this, oh, she really needs to be careful. Three of Cups, Four of Swords, and the Emperor. I feel very strongly that this person thinks that they're meant to be together, and I feel like he might actually be like in tech or something like that. He might be in tech, but he's like, oh, we're meant to be together, and she's very annoyed by it. It could lead, we all have free will, so it could lead to something more. Yeah, it could lead to something more where he is like, it's so annoying when that happens. Oh gosh, I'm just remembering another story of mine, but it's so annoying when people just don't get the hint of like, I'm not interested, you know, and they keep on. I have an ex right now who's doing that to me. Well, he's not a full ex, but somebody I dated who's just like, perpetually, why do you hate me? You know, like, just like making it all about them. And it's very annoying. So Ace of Wands, Temperance, he's going to be like, why are we meant to be together? Like, try to be like chivalrous about it. And she's like, I'm just not interested in you. You know, and it's tough. It's annoying. It's tough. So I wish her well, but this guy is not good news. So that's what I have for you all. I love you all. Please have a great rest of your day. Please like the video, subscribe, and yeah, take care.